Respect for South Carolina, their program, Coach Beamer, that they play the game like it's supposed to be played. Um, I was really proud of our offensive line. I thought we asked them to kind of control the game, and I felt like they did, at least until the last series of the first half. There, we were a little slippery on pass protection, but I think the offensive line wore them down. We made a lot of big plays on defense, a lot of sacks, hurries, this, that, and other, and we gave up a lot. And 3 hands to the face and things like that. We certainly haven't had that in practice, but we had it out here today, and we've got to clean that up as well. But I thought the defense made some big plays, and Rocket Sanders and the backs ran well, and I thought we used our wideouts a little bit better today. They used all of them, and each one of them contributed, certainly in the blocking aspect, but to the win as well. Feels really good to be 2-0. It feels really good to be 1-0 in the SEC. And with that, I'll answer any questions you have.
Hey, Sam, what does it feel like that you have a blueprint for a game and you come in and you execute the blueprint? They really can't stop you. Where your program is that you're able to do that?
Well, it's a line of scrimmage game in this league, and it depends on if you want to make it that or not. We do. We want to make it a line of scrimmage game, and it feels good, to be honest with you. I think everybody in the stadium felt good on the first 3 possessions when, we were, we didn't make a 4th and 1 in the third or the fourth quarter down there, but made close 4th downs, 3rd downs, and 1s, and none of them wasn't great big plays involved in there. It was just kind of churning 4 and 5 yards out at a whack. And to answer your question, Tom, it feels really, really good. We got a lot of work to do, but I'm really pleased with where we are as a coach and staff and as a team.
That fourth quarter took an hour and 12 minutes. And I mean, there's safeties, there's all kind of wild stuff. What did you think of that bizarre fourth quarter?
Well, that's 2 weeks in a row. I mean, it's hot out there. I'm ready for it to get over too, and I think it's another 4-hour game. I think our first one was as well, and that was bizarre time. I mean, a lot of different things going on, quick scores, onside kicks getting returned. Twice we got it, once we didn't. And the last play of the game took 5 minutes to review, just a lot of stuff went on, but glad the result is what it was.
Coach, I want to ask you about Drew Sanders' performance. Seems like he was pretty dominant on defense today.
Hey, I'll be perfectly honest. When you guys ask me, and it's a great question, I'm not saying that. When you ask me about individuals, it's really hard for me to answer real good. I saw him make some sacks and run some guys down, and I think he played a heck of a game. I haven't looked at the stats yet, but I think he probably led the team in tackles and sacks and everything. He's getting better each week because he's understanding, he's turning it loose a little bit more. And if you see today versus when he first came in the spring, you'd think you had 2 totally different people. But he's a really good player and a great kid, and I'm glad he had a good game today.
And then you might not remember this. When Warren Thompson had that holding call, he was pretty upset, came over to the sideline. I saw you had something to say to him, and then he went on and caught that touchdown. Just what was that conversation with him like?
That's between me and him.
From the defense, you got some points off of a few of those, just the significance of that, being able to punch those in for points afterward.
The plays of the defense,
defensive plays turning into points.
Yeah, I mean, the onside kick was one of them as well, and then Nudie coming back, and it's what happens. If you turn it over on a fumble or what have you, and defense got to go out there and stop them. It's kind of like what happened last week our defense needed the offense to take that 549, take it out of the game. And they did. So we're playing really good complementary football. I think we got a really close knit team. I think they complement each other, and I mean complement each other, not just on the field, but personally. And yeah, I'm really pleased with how one side did well, and the other side capitalized on it.
What's your thoughts on the 11 a.m. crowd that became a 2:45 crowd? And you said they didn't celebrate properly last week. How did they do today?
Well, I thought there's a lot of people here. It seemed like it. And the student section, I love the student section. They're here having a lot of fun. I think they pretty much sold out that area of the stadium both weeks. And a lot of fun for the kids to come, and especially we're winning but I have no idea what 11 a.m. Party would look like. But I hope they had a fun time. I thought he played better today than he did last week, and I thought he was more accurate today. I thought he ran the ball well both times, but I thought he was more accurate. I thought he was in total control. When it was third and 2 on the goal line, I told him, because I'd already went for one time. I mean, went for it on 4th and 1, and we didn't make it, which would have, if I'd have kicked it, assuming he made it, we'd have been up 8. But I kind of wanted to make sure we could get a 2-score lead, and I thought we could make a 4th and 1. And but I'd already told him, I said, and we don't make it here, I'm taking a field goal, and we're going to go up 8. I'm just telling you. I was challenging him a little bit. KJ looked at me and said, well, don't worry about it. Call the extra point team on, so. And he did, so he pretty much can take over the game when he wants to.
Sam, what do you think of Rocket today, and just these last 2 games,
Getting
how he's
better.
handled being, running back number 1, heavier load?
Yeah, he's getting better, isn't he? I think he's becoming an all-around back a little bit more. He's blocking better in protection. He's running the ball. He's falling forward better. Thought he got tired after that long run down the sideline that Warren Thompson got the holding call on. But other than that, I thought he played really, really well, and had 140 some yards rushing. That's 200-yard games back to back. It's pretty good. But he's a better back than he was a year ago. He's playing well.
You offer an update on Catalan and Slusher. Didn't see them out there. Can you?
Slusher will be back next week. Catalan. Y'all want to talk about that or not?
Yeah, I think people want to know what's going on. There's been a lot of stuff out there.
Okay. Catalan is having surgery on his shoulder, reconstruction surgery on his shoulder, so he won't be back this year. And I feel for him, and we've had conversations about it, and I'm gonna let him be away from the building a little bit. He's down. You would be too. You put in all that work, and for 2 years you're not able to play. So with that, Simeon Blair was the next highest defensive vote getter for captain. So we made him captain yesterday in our team meeting, and the team was ecstatic about that. I'd also talked to Kat about that, and Kat had also talked to me about it, about, since he wasn't going to be able to come back this year, that it would be nice if Blair was able to be a captain, and it just so happened he was the next vote getter. Slush, I believe, will be back. He was close to getting back this week, but we just felt like it'd be safer for him to come back next week. But I have no doubt that he'll be back next week.
How did you think about how the secondary played with those 2 guys out today?
Well, I think sometimes really good and sometimes really not very good. We had you'd have to ask Barry Odom, but to me, we covered well at times, and then we covered poorly at times, and we just have to become more consistent. And if we, I think we can do that, but you know, with the first week, losing two of your top defenders, you know, and coming out with a win like that and fighting and scrapping, I thought it was good. They played Arkansas football. Do we have to get better? Yes. We need to get Slusher back. Yes. You know, there's a lot of things going on, but I thought they played well for their first time.
I know this is an individual, so it's okay if you can't speak to it too much yet, but Dwight McLeathern with his second interception in 2 games, just what did you see on that play, if you can remember it? And
Well,
what'd
he
you think
fought
of
for the
him?
ball. You know, he came back for the ball in the end zone. And it seemed like they reviewed everything today, you know, and I think they reviewed that one too. But he came back for the ball and went high pointed it. And it was really a really good interception. And that's two for 2 games, 2 picks. And you know, you saw that on tape from last year as well.
I think Breeny had to come out a couple of times as
Yeah.
well. Do you have any update on him?
Ankle. No, I think he's okay. I think he could have played at the end. I just got tired of seeing him go in and out. And I said, put somebody else in there, you know. I mean, that by the way, that's the truth.
Considering how thin y'all were in the secondary, I mean,
I
how
was next man up, but I would, you know, wasn't flexed out, wasn't stretched out. And I said, no, I mean, I wasn't. Go
But-
ahead.
with how thin y'all were in the secondary, what did you think about how y'all were able to? I mean, Spencer Rattler had a couple of big plays, but mostly kept him in check. What did you think of the secondary's job?
Well, I thought they did well. I mean, we got to get better there now. I mean, we got to get better everywhere, but yeah, you lose 2 starters, but we didn't want to make an excuse. I said to the team in the pregame speech, it's not about the players that ain't out there. It's about the ones that are. Very sympathetic for both injuries. Very, very. But you go out there on a Saturday, you're going to play. The South Carolina game, you're going to play the game. And so at that point, and Slush and Cat get it too, you know, and Torian Carter, you know, whoever you don't have out there. At that time, it's about the ones that are out there, and they fought their tails off, I thought.
We got involved in the passing game today a little bit too. I think at 30 yards receiving. What did you think about him getting involved in that aspect?
Yeah,
Of the game?
you know, he's always been he has good hands, you know. We're not a huge screen game, you know, we're not huge or shovel. We did a couple of them today, but that's if we're running draws, it's usually, you know, you run a draw, shovel, or screen, you know, to kind of slow the pass rush down. And we were able to do that a little bit with him today and Trey Knox. And we ran a draw with KJ as well. But, you know, sometimes you got to slow the pass rush down, and that's kind of they ran a lot of screens today as well, you know, but that's kind of our way to try to slow the pass rush down a little bit.
Coach, I want to ask you, you mentioned next man up a moment ago. Obviously, if you could elaborate more on Breeny's impact and look like Matt Landers was a big part of the game plan, especially in the first half.
Yeah, he was. I mean, and, you know, Breeny, you had to look back, and Breeny started several games for Georgia last year, and so it's kind of hard for me to go, oh, whoa, are we, whenever we got a guy that started a lot of games for the national champions. We just had to, you know, he has to come in and play our system and play it well. So I, you know, again, I'll have to look and see I don't know how he played, to be honest with you, but it was good to, you know, the transfer portal, to have him back there. And you said somebody else. Oh yeah, Matt. You know, we tried to get him a little bit of a reverse. You know, the guy was playing so far off of him, you know, he didn't want to get beat deep. And I know Matt's in there. Matt carries his on his shoulder, you know, and he dropped the pass. It could have been a touchdown. And he got to get over that. I mean, that ain't going to be the last pass he drops, but he's valuable. I thought we used those wideouts a little bit better today. We got good wideouts now, I think. And we tried to use them a little bit better today, and Matt being one of those. So he gonna be a heck of a player for us. He already is. He's gonna be very, very valuable
For me
us.
here, Coach, on Spencer Rattler, and in terms of generalities, we've seen a lot of great quarterback play over the years. What makes him effective? How dangerous do you think he could be in the SEC this season?
Well, a lot about a quarterback is a lot about who's around you, and I don't know. I'm not Shane, so I can't speak for that, but you have to have protection. You have to have guys get open. He got a great big old tight end that came in from Oklahoma. You know what I mean? If he has those things, he's really good. I mean, he can make some really good plays, and he's accurate with the ball and can scramble. He's a good player. Won a lot of games there early at Oklahoma and all those things. So, but a quarterback really, you have to be upright, and you have to be able to, have good receivers and all that kind of stuff. So Shane probably can answer that better than I can, but he's really good. He's a really good player.
Sam, I'm curious what you thought of Bumper's day between the kickoff return and that timely sack he had of Rattler.
Yeah. Bumper, he's so funny because whenever he got the onside kick and ran it down there, he came hands, baby, and punched me in the gut, I'm so proud of him, I mean, he bleeds Arkansas, a lot of kids in there do, but he's one of them that really does. And for him to have the sack and, you can count on him, sort of like Grant was last year, you can count on him. Bumper's been that way for the 3 years I've been here. And so I'm really happy for him, especially those guys, 6-year seniors that come back and have success or his 5th year, his extra year, because he never redshirted, but it's really cool to see guys like that work so hard and then decide to pass up the NFL for a year to come back to. We ain't beat the Green Bay Packers. We're 2-0, but it's nice for those things to happen to guys that come back.
Coach, one big number that jumps out, 10 flags, 122 yards. Thoughts on that?
Well, we got to get it fixed. I mean, you had 3 personal fouls to the face. They had a holding. I don't know how many holding calls, several. Had 2 penalties on special teams. There was a lot of flags out there today, and my thoughts are we got to clean it up. The hands to the face, I think it was 3 different people, and I certainly haven't seen that in practice, and I watch every rep of everything, one-on-ones and individual and team, and I don't believe we've had one before, but we got to get it cleaned up. And to be honest with you, that's what kept them in the game. And so we have to get that cleaned up, and that's me, and I will.
Sam, Arkansas traditionally, historically in the SEC has not won a lot of openers. You've won openers now in back-to-back years. How big is that, especially with obviously the challenge of the schedule when you can start off?
Well, winning any of them is good, winning SEC games has everything with rankings, bowl possibilities, playoff possibilities, everything, because it doesn't hurt you, in your ranking and your FPI, all that kind of stuff when you win against an SEC team at Arkansas. And so I think it's a big deal. Anytime we win an SEC game, it's a big deal, no matter who the team is and all that. And South Carolina was a hot team, had finished their year really well last year. And it is, and they'll win, they'll win a lot of games, and Shane will get them back. But it feels really good to be 1-0 in the SEC.
I think Trey late in the third quarter.
Who?
Trey Knox, then we
Yeah.
saw Nathan
Ankle.
Bex get in there, and then Hudson got in there some.
Yeah.
What'd you think of their play and how's
Bob, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't be able to tell you right now. I didn't, I would have been able to say if they would have stood out negatively. I didn't see that, but Trey had an ankle going into the game. I thought he toughed it out pretty good, but we got to get him healthy too. We're dinged up a little bit, but I think with our schedule, you're going to stay that way we just got to figure it out.
Yeah, you looked like you were in control of the game after the first 3 touchdown
Yeah.
drives, and then it got hairy
Yeah.
for quite a while. Rest of the second quarter, early third.
Mm.
What did you see from your team? What allowed you maybe to bounce back from that?
Well, I just made some big plays at key moments, we they did get within 5 on us, and that's when I had the opportunity to either try to kick the field goal or go for it. And I elected to go for it. We didn't make it, but I think at that point, that's when we kind of took the game back over and got up by 19, I think, at 18 or 19 at some point. And then after that, they probably could have came within a touchdown, but not much closer. Now, wasn't enough time left on the clock.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, guys.